Good morning, all. Nice to be with you again after a week break due to illness. And if you can't already tell from my voice, I'm not exactly better. I don't know what precisely is going on aside from the nefarious evil that is winter cold and flu season. So last week, I didn't record tea time because I was homesick and I sounded awful and looked awful. Um, I had one of those, fever breaking rashes, which is just repulsive. And so I didn't want to film a video with that going on. And my voice was really rough and scratchy. Not that it's much better now, but it was worse last week. I was pretty sick. And then Anne got sick. And then I kept her home from school on Friday. I stayed home sick with her. And I wasn't really all that much better myself, but I felt less bad than I did last Thursday. Um, and then over the weekend, I started to feel a little bit better. I could go out and take a little walk. I love going for walks in the wintertime. And I felt a little bit more myself, and all was right with the world. Well, then Mike starts to cough, I think Sunday night. And then I start to feel a little weird again. And it was a little weird in a different way than I had previously. My throat felt sore again, but it felt different sore. And I was stuffy again, but it was a different stuffy than what I had been going through. And then Henry got sick with that same thing. And so we have just all been stuffy, coughing, sneezing, not totally miserable. It's not anything too terribly bad, but just enough to really put a damper on your day-to-day existence and to really drain your energy in the mornings and the evenings. And yeah, we've had some rough overnights this week as well, with lots of coughing, lots of sneezing, and pacing, and just generally people up because they can't sleep because of all of the congestion and other things going on. And that hasn't exactly been a lot of fun for any of us. So I've been doing the best I can. But I'm here at work because I was out last week and I want to get some work done before I go on vacation, which starts Friday 23rd. So here I am, feeling far less than 100%. I also wanted to record a tea time before Christmas because I always go on hiatus between Christmas and New Year's, and so I wanted to get one in before then, and plus I just wanted to chat with you before I go off for about a week and a half. So yeah, I won't be posting next week at all. Just be taking it easy, as you all will too, and then I'll be back. The 2nd of January is our official holiday since it falls on the weekend this year, New Year's Day. So I will be back and blogging Tuesday the 3rd, back into my routine and all of that. So yeah, I will look forward to reconnecting with you then. But in the meantime, this is pretty much what's been going on with me, is this sickness. I've just been, feeling kind of crummy. And work has not really been all that great, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. We are starting to plan for the spring, and it's not what I was hoping it was going to be. And that's really all I'm going to say about that, I suppose. I was just hoping that it was going to be significantly improved from the fall. And as of right now, although it will be somewhat improved, I don't know that it'll be significantly improved. Just based upon some of the scheduling things and some of the stuff that we're planning to do, I think it's going to be very stressful. I wasn't planning for it to be this way, so I'm feeling a little disappointed, just keeping it real. However, hope springs eternal, and there are those things that I mentioned that will be improved. Maybe they will turn out to be significant improvements. I guess you don't really know until you start to go through it. So I just have my mind set that I'm going to go into it with as positive of an attitude as I can and do my best with it. And I'm also going to keep my focus on the fun things in life. And there's lots of those to talk about, so why don't we talk about those? So, yeah, so next year I'm planning for it to be a really fun and lovely year. I touched upon this in my post on Monday with our patron, the focus of that post being the patron saint for our little blog community for 2017, who is Saint Jerome, patron saint of librarians. Excuse me, I have one cough. Okay, I'm hoping that's it. And I took that as a sign that we're going to be really focused next year on writing and podcasting and other fun, just writing and media endeavors that I think St. Jerome could be of help to us on. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And I also have some fun trips planned that I mentioned in Monday's post, going to a dance workshop with my troupe and going to a yarn festival in the fall. And I'm hoping to visit with some out of town friends this year. And so it's going to be really, really lovely. So I'm going to focus on things like that. So in that vein, I have been very much enjoying over my sick time, as well as I'm sure this will continue over my Christmas break. I've been enjoying my crafts. I have been knitting and crocheting away. I'm starting a sweater. I just did a gauge swatch, which didn't exactly come out to gauge. So I'm gonna have to change needles and go at that again, but I'm excited about that. And I'm working on, I have a shawl to make for my friend Irina. I have some socks that I'm working on. And I'd like to make a sweater for Anne this winter. So I'm very much into that. Winter to me is the perfect time for crafts like that. It's just warm and cozy, and I'm waiting for the knit picks after Christmas luxury yarn sale to maybe pick up a few more things for warm. This time of year I just crave like warm bulky yarn for sweaters and like big chunky cowls that you just like cover up your whole head in. So that's what I want to work on this winter. So I'm looking forward to that. And dancing stuff, because I mentioned the dance workshop. So yeah, so I've been sort of meaning, I guess, to devote a tea time to dance for a while, and I just haven't gotten to it because there's like lots of fun stuff going on with it. So I have to cough again. Please forgive me. Okay. I'll try to make this quick so that you won't be subjected to any further spells of coughing. But my dance teacher asked me to dance with her at a gig on New Year's Eve at an Indian restaurant that wanted 2 belly dancers for their New Year's Eve event. I'm very excited about this, and I'm also really, really nervous. A couple of reasons. I always get nervous when I perform, even after all these years. And 2, Sword's presence has been requested. As you can imagine, Sword is very smug and happy about this. Tiffany is not. This restaurant is, Claire and I went there a week or so ago, scope it out. It's divided into multiple areas for eating, dining, and so we're going to have to transverse spaces with our props if we have them. So this would be Sword. To get to the banquet room, between the banquet room and the other main dining space, which has a step involved. I'm not really looking forward to that step with Sword in the mix, but it is what it is. There's a bar in between those 2 spaces, and there's also a separate, just little other dining space with, I don't know, maybe 4 tables. It's really tiny. And that's separate from the other 2. So you've got to, you know, I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do this. Just divide my time between all of the rooms. So there's lots of logistics, and the logistics are always the thing that makes me most nervous about things like this. The logistics and the potential for social awkwardness, right? I know everybody is with me on this. So I know, because I have danced at a restaurant before, to have extremely low expectations. When you're dancing at a performance type venue where people are going there to attend a dance performance, like a recital or what we call a hafla, or some other, or a festival where there's a whole dancing segment. The people that go are going and they're sitting down and they're going to watch the dancing. That's why they are there. And for the most part, in this part of the world, you're going to have a very quiet audience because that is the sign of respect, that everybody's attentively and quietly watching you. They're not going to really be too participatory unless you really push the issue. In terms of clapping, or certainly not getting up and dancing with you. That's just not a Western thing culturally. And so it's quiet, everybody's attentive. There will be applause after each number. People are generally not going to get up and move around while you're dancing because they know you're going to be, there's separate numbers within this show. And so each number is probably only going to be 3 to 5 minutes long, not very long. So if they need to get up to use the restroom or to get a refreshment, they will wait until after your number is finished. That's really the conventional norm. And they'll go in between numbers or at the little intermissions. Well, when you're dancing in a restaurant, that's not the case. The people may, like for this, it's being advertised as a belly dance show with the buffet. And so people know that there's going to be dancers there. And so some people may come because, oh, I really enjoyed watching dancing, and so I'd like to go. But even that being the case, they're not really there just to watch you dance. They're there to eat. They're there to have a conversation with the people at their table. And so when you're dancing at a restaurant, you're going to be dancing for a crowd that may or may not be paying any attention to you at all. You're going to have people up and down constantly to go to the restroom because they're all having drinks, go up to the buffet to get more food, and so they're going to be passing right by you. It's definitely a situation in which you cannot have any type of choreography. You just need to completely improvise, and you need to be adept at sidestepping things, people, servers, trays. So there's lots of that going on, and it could be a situation where people might be more involved because it's seen as you're the entertainer. You're not there sort of like performing in this show that they're there to simply watch. In a restaurant setting, it could be that people feel like, oh, I'd like to get up and dance too. I'm very nervous about that. And because I just don't really know how to handle all this. Just all these different types of things that could come up, or you could get nobody paying attention to you at all. And so you have to really have your mindset that I am there to be a performer, but I'm really dancing for myself. That's the way I see it, at least, because otherwise you become emotionally invested the way you would in another performance, which is to say you feel like the gauge of how you're doing is the energy that you're sort of invisibly pulling between yourself and the crowd and their reaction when you finish. That's not going to be the case in a restaurant because there's just so much else going on and other things that your audience is doing. And so you just have to really have your mind in the place that I'm here, I'm going to do a good job for me, and because that's what I'm being paid to do. And the audience is sometimes just going to be watching you and sometimes they're not, and so you just need to just accept that it's part of what it is. And because the first time I danced in a restaurant, I remember I had a hard time with that. After I finished my set, I was thinking, oh, I don't really know how I feel about how that went. I mean, I felt like I did fine, but I just felt kind of emotionally deflated. And so now I know not to do that, and which I guess is a good thing. The last time I danced in a restaurant, I danced one 15-minute set on New Year's Eve. Just me, will be dancing 3 20-minute sets, and so will Claire, separately. So that's 2 hours of dancing between the two of us. That's a lot. I remember the first time I did that, one 15-minute set, you could have scraped me off of the floor. I was exhausted. It is very draining, not just physically, but I guess there's the emotional angle. You're really putting yourself out there to give a good show, good performance. And so it drains you emotionally, at least for introverts it does. So it's going to be a really long night. But I'm excited by the challenge that it presents. I really wish I didn't have to use a prop because that adds another element of anxiety to the experience, especially with it being sword, especially with it not really being all that large in the restaurant. So I'm going to be a little creative with how I use sword. The good thing about a balancing prop, Claire's going to be using a candle tray. The good thing about using a balancing prop in a setting like that, as opposed to another performance where if you're going to be dancing your 4-minute hafla piece and you want to balance a prop, you're probably going to have some anticipatory buildup where you have your prop and everybody's like, oh, is she going to balance that on her head? And then you balance it on your head and you're going to leave it up there for a while because you're not going to be dancing for all that long. So you want to really show, the balancing part, and it's all exciting. Audiences definitely love balance. I mean, that's the biggest crowd pleaser that we use in terms of props is something that you balance, whether it be a sword or a tray or something else. The audience definitely likes it. But that makes me more nervous because then they're really watching you. So if it doesn't balance up there perfectly, like can happen, I'll link to a post in the show notes of a time that happened to me. It's not really all that pleasant when that happens. It's nerve-wracking. However, when you're in a restaurant, you're dealing with much smaller vignette situations as you move from space to space and table to table. So, you put it up there, it doesn't really feel all that great. You do like 2 movements, take her off, and move, and it really doesn't look like you didn't have that already planned because you're just moving fluidly from space to space. And so you can easily be taking it on and off your head a lot because you're moving from different small groups of people. That takes a little bit of the pressure off and it looks fine. Whereas if you're dancing in a hafla and, I put the sword on my head and like 10 seconds later I have to take it off, it really is like, oh, I think she's having trouble with her sword. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm nervous. I have to bring 3 costumes, and Claire's like, oh, I really want it. Have lots of like bling, so lots of costume jewelry and makeup and like make it such that you're really presenting yourself as this sort of flashy, in a sense, entertainment that you're all made up and lots of sparkling sequins and beads. And that's not usually what I wear. So we'll see. We went and met the owner, who's very nice. He wanted to film this promotional video, which was kind of awkward. I was assuming he wanted us to dance, and was going to film this short snippet to put on their Facebook page, but that's not what he wanted us to. He wanted us to talk, and like talk about Middle Eastern dance and what is going to be involved in the show. And I was like, wasn't really prepared for that, and I could tell Claire was like, what are we gonna say? I don't know. So luckily he hasn't put that up yet, but I'm sure it's coming. And I was like really nervous while we were there just about the different rooms and the stairs and all of the different things going on. And so it's been in the back of my mind quite a bit because now it's coming up. And so I have been doing heavy duty with Kateri, my iPod, putting together my music, my set lists. And I think what I'm going to do is have my sword in the middle set. So my opening set, I'll probably be nervous and I'll just dance. I might, use the veil or what have you for an entrance. And then I'll use the sword for the first half of my second set, and then I will get rid of him. And I have some really lovely, happy music that I'm really looking forward to dancing to for the second part of that set as my reward. One nice thing about longer sets like that is that you can dance to music that is ordinarily too long for hafla performances, but you can't really cut the music. I have wanted to dance to a song called New Ballady ever since I became a Middle Eastern dancer. But a ballady is a very specific type of music. It starts out with a slow, what they call taksim, and then it builds in terms of speed into a crescendo at the end. And you can't cut any of it. It's like all of that is important to that type of music. And it is an absolutely spectacularly beautiful song. And it's well over 5 minutes long. But I need to dance for 20 minutes. So pop her in there. And I'm going to be using that song After the Sword. And I'm really looking forward to it because I've always wanted to dance to it. And that song just speaks to my soul. It's wonderful, beautiful. So that's what I have planned coming up on New Year's Eve. Um, I'm going to be taking an extra dance class in the winter that I'm really excited about. Middle Eastern, all in that same realm, but an additional class that is just for the winter that I'm super excited about. And that just is such a creative outlet for me. So between that, writing, getting back into podcasting with Christina, like I talked about on Monday, I think it's going to be a really great year. And I'm really, really excited. So before all of that, though, I've got lots of family coming into town. Mike and I and the kids are hosting Christmas Eve and Christmas Day dinner. Henry is going to be serving at the Christmas Day Mass, which I'm super excited about. So we have all that coming up. Me visiting with my sisters and my aunts and uncles and my grandmother over the Christmas New Year's stretch. And then I've got the dancing thing on the 31st. So when we reconvene in January, there will be lots to talk about. There will be lots going on. So I would love to know what's going on with you, how your Christmas planning is coming, what your plans are for Christmas Mass. I love hearing about that. We have transitioned from Christmas Eve to Christmas Day, and we really like it. But they both have certainly beautiful things to recommend them. So I'd love to know what Mass you're going to. Write in and let me know. I will be doing tea time again, I guess, January, I want to say around the 5th. Yeah, I think Thursday the 5th. That'll be our next tea time together. So, and I'll be posting in written form before then. So I wish you all a Merry Christmas. I hope you have a wonderful holiday and a Happy New Year. And I'm really looking forward to sharing 2017 with all of you. I would say in the past couple of years on this blog, I'm running a little long, but we went a week without a show, so it's okay, right? I guess it was in the spring of 2015, actually when I started doing tea time, back when it was just video. That's when things really changed for me, I guess, in terms of this community, the blog, and my aspirations to podcast. And it became just something really more meaningful than it had been. Because my blog has always been meaningful to me, but it was enhanced. And it has been a really wonderful little stretch coming up here on 2 years soon. I think it's not until May that it'll be 2 years. So we have a little bit longer still. I have really enjoyed sharing this journey with all of you, and many of you I know have been with me just only in that time span, you know. And so it's been very special getting to know all of you and enjoying these creative endeavors together. And I am looking forward to many, many more. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I will see you all in early next year. But in the meantime, I'd love to hear from you. Write in, tell me your Christmas plans, your Mass plans, your New Year's plans, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.